So you guys hit 100 likes on the Naruto recap. Thank you so much. Yes, this is 2 parts, I know, but I'm heading on vacation soon and this video wouldn't have been out for another month or so if I decided to do it all in 1 part. So that's the reason. Plus I thought 2.5 hours might have been a little too long for a video. But here we are at over 1.5 hours, so... Anyways, this will cover everything from the beginning of Naruto Shippuden all the way to the end of the Five Kage Summit, minus all filler of course. It would mean the world to me if you liked and subscribed and commented, but judge for yourself after you watch whether or not I'm worthy of that. And with that being said, let's get into the video. After more than 2 years away training with the legendary Sannin Jiraiya, Naruto Uzumaki returns home to the village hidden in the leaves. Sakura and Konohamaru greet their old friend. And though for a second Sakura is impressed with how much Naruto has matured, she quickly learns that he hasn't changed a bit, and socks him before he can show off his new and improved sexy jutsu. Lady Tsunade has him and her student Sakura test their new skills against their former teacher, Kakashi-sensei.
But first he runs off to read his new unreleased copy of Jiraiya's Makeout series book that Naruto gave him.
Before they meet him at the training grounds, Naruto finds out from Shikamaru that he's the only one in their year who's still a genin. And even more surprisingly, that Gaara has become Kazekage, which leaves him both proud and motivated.
Kankuro, Tamari, and Neji are all joining though.
Meanwhile, Jiraiya leaves Naruto in Kakashi's hands, as he's off to gather intel on the Akatsuki, who have been increasing activities lately. So, Kakashi has Naruto and Sakura partake in the bell test again, though this time he has to put the book aside and get serious. Naruto displays his improved usage of his shadow clones and Rasengan, while Sakura shows off her incredible chakra control with her monstrous strength. The same tricks that once worked on the kids don't work anymore, and they go back and forth for hours, until finally, Naruto comes up with a feasible strategy to win. He feigns spoiling the ending of Makeout Tactics, forcing Kakashi to cover his eyes and ears, thereby allowing the two to easily steal the bells. Tsunade, who had been watching the whole time, informs the two that they will be a part of Team Kakashi, carrying out missions together, not as his students, but as equals.
Then he shares an Ichiraku ramen meal with Haruka sensei. Just like old times.
In the village hidden in the sand, 2 Akatsuki members, Sasori and Deidara, approach the village with the intent of capturing the one-tailed Jinchuriki. One of the village leaders, Captain Yura, was placed under Sasori's jutsu some time ago that made him a pawn, and he kills all of the guards on watch, allowing the two to easily pass their defenses. Then, as Sasori waits on the outskirts of the village, Deidara infiltrates with his clay bird, in search of the one-tailed Jinchuriki Gaara. He drops some clay spiders from above onto the watch guards and blows them up. Then when he lands, he has saved the effort of searching, as Gaara stands in front of him. He quickly hops back on his bird whilst Gaara attempts to catch him with his sand, and they fight above the skies, as the whole village watches on. Gaara seems to have the fight under control, even tearing off one of Deidara's arms, but the Akatsuki is in panic, as he simply analyzes his opponent and bides his time. His mouth palm things finally infuse enough chakra into his detonating clay to release his specialty onto the village, a doll with enormous destructive power. But the Kazekage moves his sand quickly to protect his village from sheer destruction, which plays right into Deidara's hands as he forces him to encase himself in his sand, then has his clay spiders poke through and explode in his face.
Deidara infused some detonating clay with the sand that tore his arm off, which was a portion of the sandball Gaara uses as his ultimate defense.
Gaara, defeated, uses the last of his strength to move his sand shield away from the village, then passes out, and Deidara collects his prize. He meets up with Sasori, who is tired of waiting, and the two mosey on out of the village, their mission accomplished. Though Kankuro runs after his brother alone, determined to get him back, and when he catches up with them, Sasori stays back to play with him. He puts almost no effort into dismantling Kankuro's 3 puppets, being that he's the one who created them. and the Sand Shinobi recognizes the name, Sasori of the Red Sand. Kankuro collapses from the effects of the poison he was stabbed with, and Sasori leaves him to his slow, cruel death, then catches up with his partner. Meanwhile, the Sand Village sent a messenger bird to the Leaf Village asking for help, and the Hokage quickly assigns Team Kakashi to Sunagakure to give them any support they need. Before they set off, Jiraiya warns Naruto not to be reckless in the face of the Akatsuki, and to not use that power, and the boy says he understands. The trio catch up with Temari on their way, who had left the Leaf and her boyfriend Shikamaru, after completing preparations for the upcoming Chunin exam, and she joins them in rushing back to the village. Naruto gets emotional over saving Gaara from the Akatsuki, who view people like them as monsters, a label he and Gaara have both worked hard to overcome. Kankuro is returned to the village in critical condition, and he tells Baki that his opponent was Sasori of the Red Sand, and he immediately heads to the honored siblings of the Sand to request their assistance. The elderly Chiyo is persuaded to help, when she hears there may be a chance to see her grandson Sasori again, though even her knowledge of poisons is ineffective in easing Kankuro's condition. Elsewhere, Deidara and Sasori arrive at their hidden base with their prize, and the Akatsuki all convene to perform a sealing jutsu on Gaara that will take 3 days and nights to remove the tailed beast from its host. Meanwhile, Tsunade has a bad feeling and sends Team Guy to provide backup to Team Kakashi, who finally arrive at the village hidden in the sand after their 3-day journey. Immediately upon arriving, Lady Chiyo rushes Kakashi, mistaking him for the White Fang of the Leaf, but her brother Ebizo reminds her that he died long ago. Sakura then gets straight to work in extracting the toxin out of Kankuro's body, and for the first time in the entire series, I actually think she's kinda badass. She puts in action everything Tsunade has taught her, and is successful in stabilizing his condition. Then when he awakens, he asks for the remains of his puppets. He gives a piece of cloth he cut from Sasori to Kakashi, who summons his ninja hounds to follow their scent, and he asks Naruto, the one who changed Gaara's perspective, to take care of his little brother. Pakun finds the hideout then returns, and just as Team Kakashi are about to set out, Granny Chiyo insists on joining them. On their way, Chiyo explains to her juniors how during the Great War era, the tailed beasts, of which there are 9, ranging from 1 tail to 9 tail, were fought over amongst the villages. The Akatsuki's goal is to gather all 9 of them. The reason they waited so long to get the 9-tailed fox is because the process of extracting tailed beasts takes quite a bit of preparation. At the same time, Pakun intercepts Guy's team to redirect them to the Akatsuki hideout, being that they're the closest, though one of their members, Zetsu, alerts his leader of their discovery. The Akatsuki leader then uses his impersonation jutsu to allow Kisame to hold them off, though 70% of his chakra remains to continue the jutsu, and Itachi does the same to intercept Team Kakashi. Kisame wants some payback on Guy for the kick he landed on him in their last meeting, but Guy has trouble remembering the Mist Ninja. After his squad get trapped in his opponent's water prison jutsu, Guy is left to fight Kisame alone, and he struggles initially against his opponent's environmental advantage. But as Neji breaks him and his teammates out of the trap, Guy opens 6 of the 8 gates of opening, and overwhelms his opponent with his explosive taijutsu techniques.
It wasn't Kisame's real body. They used the Sand Ninja as the vessel for the jutsu.
At the same time, Itachi traps Naruto in his genjutsu, and despite all his training for such a scenario, he is helpless, but for the help of his teammates who break him out of it. Kakashi then leads the charge and shows his improvement by locking Itachi in place, allowing Naruto to land his new giant Rasengan on him, and he notices him smile before his jutsu disperses, leaving the body of Captain Yura behind. This delay bought the Akatsuki enough time to finish their Suling jutsu before they are interrupted, and Chiyo breaks it to the team that if the one-tailed Shukaku is extracted from Gaara, he will die.
She also later tells Kakashi that she was the one who performed the jutsu that forced the possession of Shukaku on Gaara.
Each team then decide to take a short rest to recover their strength, whilst the Akatsuki complete the jutsu and extract the tailed beast from Gaara. leaving him dead. Shortly after, their guests arrive, and when they figure out the 5-seal barrier blocking the entrance, Team Guy rip off the scattered seals, while Sakura breaks the boulder blocking the entrance. Team Guy are then each faced with copies of themselves that they have to fight against. And that's all I'm going to say about that because they're occupied the entire time and I find it incredibly boring. Team Kakashi then enter where they find Sasori and Deidara sitting on Gaara's dead body, which enrages Naruto, bringing out his 9-tailed fox features, and the duo quickly identify him as the Jinchuriki thereafter.
My guy, what did Jiraiya say not to do?
Itachi told them he'd be the one who yells and screams first.
Deidara takes advantage of his hastiness and lures him away with Gaara's body in tow, forcing Kakashi to follow, which pisses off Sasori, who has his own Jinchuriki quota to meet.
Before that, though, they argue over whether true art is fleeting like an explosion or everlasting like Sasori's puppets.
This leaves Granny Chiyo to face her grandson, along with Sakura, whose lack of experience leaves her less than confident. Sasori, who used to be a master craftsman in the village hidden in the sand, ended up dedicating most of his time to turning people into puppets, just like Hiruko, the one he is currently utilizing. Chiyo's battle experience surpasses even Sasori's, however, and she uses Sakura as her own puppet to fight against him, and she manipulates her to break Hiruko. Sasori then emerges from the puppet, and Chiyo is stunned to see that her grandson, who she hasn't seen in 20 years, hasn't aged a day. When Sasori summons his next puppet, Chiyo is even more surprised to see that it is a third Kazekage, who went missing long ago, and whose body was never recovered. This puppet is even more decked out than the last, and Sakura is nearly exposed to its poison, but she breaks herself free. Granny Chiyo then summons 2 of her puppets, the father and the mother, the first 2 puppets Sasori ever made.
Sasori was a sad little boy after he lost his parents to the war, and so he made puppets to resemble them and comfort him.
The puppet masters then go head to head with their jutsu, and Sasori decides to use the third Kazekage's most powerful jutsu, Iron Sand. The sand can take many forms, and it enters Chiyo's puppets, as well as her modified body, rendering them unable to move. Just as Chiyo loses an arm and tells Sakura to run, the young Kunoichi refuses to be a burden anymore, and tells her to use her body as a puppet to defeat her grandson. Sakura begins to read his Iron Sand attacks on her own, however, all the dodging training she did with Tsunade bearing fruit. Though when he uses his jutsu, Iron Sand, World Order, its range seems too large for her to dodge, and the few cuts she suffers leave her collapsed, the poison taking effect. But just as Sasori attempts to finish her off, Sakura smashes his puppet to pieces, having used an antidote for his poison moments before she was attacked.
She created it for Kankuro and brought it along with her, though it only makes her immune to the poison for 3 minutes.
She then heals Granny Chiyo, and Sasori decides to use the strongest puppet, himself.
That's why he hasn't aged at all.
The 2 Kunoichi dodge the attacks from him and all his bells and whistles, as Sakura uses the last of her strength to smash him to pieces. But he merely assembles himself back together, and Granny Chiyo similarly reattaches her arm to prepare herself for the final fight. She whips out her secret jutsu, Chikamatsu's 10 puppets, but Sasori does her one better, and controls 100 puppets at once.
I guess he does her 90 better then.
Though Chiyo shows that quality is better than quantity, and she coordinates with Sakura to seal his chakra, but he shifts his heart into a different puppet, and aims for his grandmother. Sakura stands in his way, however, and is impaled, and Granny Chiyo, who herself was sliced and poisoned earlier, uses the last antidote on Sakura. Chiyo collapses, but before Sasori can finish them off, his grandmother uses his father and mother puppets to stab him through the heart, or chakra chest piece, whatever you want to call it. He's dead. Chiyo then uses her reanimation ninjutsu to transfer some of her life force into Sakura, thereby saving her life. The heartless Sasori decides to give Sakura what she was asking for as a reward for defeating him: information on Orochimaru. In 10 days, at the Tenchi Bridge in the village hidden in the grass, He is supposed to meet with a spy who works as one of Orochimaru's subordinates, and with that information passed on, he dies, his grandmother believing that he let himself get hit by her attack. Meanwhile, Deidara does everything he can to separate Kakashi from the reckless Naruto, but nothing he does seems to work. Kakashi manages to get Naruto to listen to his plan, and he uses his new Mangekyo Sharingan Jutsu that warps space, using a different dimension to separate Deidara's remaining arm. He fails to completely transport his opponent, though it gives Naruto a chance to knock him off his bird and steal Gaara back. When he sees Gaara's lifeless face, however, Naruto's rage builds, and the Nine-Tailed Fox's chakra begins to take over, cloaking his body. Kakashi thinks back to Jiraiya's instructions, and uses a special seal he gave him to suppress the rampaging Naruto's chakra, just in time for Sakura and Shio to arrive. Deidara, who's been hiding and watching nearby, is found by Team Guy, who managed to defeat their clones, and he evades their attacks long enough to find the remains of his clay bird. He bites off some of the detonating clay, and concentrates his chakra in one spot to self-destruct in a devastating explosion, dooming everyone in the vicinity. But Kakashi uses the last of his strength to warp the explosion into another dimension, thereby saving everyone present. True art is sharing the video. No, that's not what he says? Alright, well fucking do it anyways. Like, subscribe, and comment while you're at it. Naruto then sobs over the death of his fellow Jinchuriki, stating that after 3 years of training, nothing has changed. He was unable to save Sasuke, and he's now unable to save Gaara. Granny Chiyo then uses the last of her life force to bring Gaara back to life with her reanimation jutsu, and Naruto offers up his chakra to help her. She tells Naruto that she is glad somebody like him is around, and entrusts the future to him and Gaara, and tells Sakura that she is sure she will surpass her master someday. When Gaara awakens, Kankuro, Temari, Lord Ebizo, and dozens of sand shinobi arrive to see his revival, and they all take a minute to say a prayer for Granny Chiyo's humble sacrifice. On their return to the village, the Kazekage is greeted with a lavish welcome party, and the Leaf Shinobi are quick to make their preparations to return home. They visit Chiyo's grave to pay their respects, Naruto and Sakura lingering a bit longer than the rest, and finally they say goodbye to their hosts. Elsewhere, Deidara lives, his clone being the one who self-destructed, and as he searches for his torn-off arm and ring, he finds Zetsu and an Akatsuki subordinate named Toby poking around. The Leaf Shinobi return to their village, and Kakashi ends up in the hospital due to the overuse of his Sharingan, and being carried by Guy for 3 days straight. With only 6 days remaining before the meeting at Tenchi Bridge, and Team Kakashi short on staff, Naruto gets to work on finding a new teammate. In his search, he reunites with Team 8, Shino being butthurt that Naruto took so long to remember him, and Hinata fainting at the sight of him, and Akamaru. He is big now. Just as he gets rejected by Shikamaru, Choji appears, and the trio are attacked by an unknown Leaf Shinobi and his Beast Scroll ninjutsu. The artiste mocks the hyperactive knucklehead's weakness, and then quickly retreats, telling Naruto they'll see each other again. Meanwhile, Shizune, who has been critical of Tsunade's willingness to send Naruto on missions with such close contact with the Akatsuki, seeks advice from the village elders. Homura and Koharu direct Tsunade to reduce Naruto's missions, increase his surveillance, and to never send him on missions with potential Akatsuki contact. Tsunade refuses their advice, placing her belief in Naruto, and after they witness her resolve, the village elders let her do as she pleases, though they will be the ones to select the 2 new members of his 4-man squad. They call in Danzo, the leader of the Foundation, who has already arranged for one of his subordinates to join the team and survey Naruto. The other member Tsunade is to select from the Yambu Black Ops under her direct control.
The Foundation is the Yambu Black Ops training division, and Danzo was once part of the faction that opposed the third Hokage.
Tsunade chooses a member whom she gives the codename Yamato, and tells him to keep a close eye on Danzo's member, being that she is unable to decipher the old man's motives. So, the new Team Kakashi meet up, and Naruto is upset to find that the guy who attacked him, Sai, is joining their team. Yamato gives them an hour to pack before they head for the Tenchi Bridge to capture the Akatsuki spy working for Orochimaru. And as Sai packs, an Anbu Black Ops member gives him a classified mission courtesy of Danzo, failure not being an option.
In the Foundation, you have no name, no emotions, no past or future. There is only the mission. Sounds like a fun place.
Meanwhile, Yamato is briefed by Jiraiya on Naruto's nine-tailed fox condition, and tells Kakashi and Co. that he nearly died when he witnessed the fourth tail of Naruto's nine-tails cloak.
That's it? They don't give him any advice. Alright then.
When they begin their mission, both Naruto and Sakura fail to get along with the blunt Sai, and Yamato takes them to a hot spring to improve the team's rapport.
And he shows off his wood-style ninjutsu, which only the first Hokage has ever been able to use.
Though the team still doesn't quite gel, the next night they make their plan to have Yamato pose as Sasori to meet the spy, with capture being their objective. They do some simulation training to practice capturing the spy, and Sai takes things into his own hands, abandoning his teammate Naruto to capture Yamato. Naruto refuses to acknowledge Sai as a comrade, as he continues to badmouth his predecessor Sasuke, and Sakura tries to get him to understand how Naruto feels, by relating the situation to him and his brother, but nothing comes of it.
Sai had a brother who died, but being trained to have no emotion, did not know what kind of face to make when he lost him.
The next day, they arrive at the bridge, and the fake Sasori meets up with the spy, who turns out to be Kabuto, and he tells his former master of the location of Orochimaru's current base. Before he's found out, Orochimaru breaks up the meeting, and Kabuto then betrays his former master Sasori, whose jutsu Orochimaru broke Kabuto free of ages ago. Yamato then gives the signal, and his team pop out from their hiding place, and just the sight of Orochimaru is enough to envelop Naruto in the Nine-Tails cloak. He smacks Orochimaru away viciously, and when he walks back, he reveals all about who Yamato really is. When still a part of the Leaf Village, Orochimaru performed experiments to gain the wood-style ninjutsu of the first Hokage, who could control tailed beasts at will. He mixed the DNA of the first Hokage with that of children, though his experiments continuously failed until he was chased out of the village, only to now find that one of his test subjects, Yamato, survived.
This is why Yamato was chosen to take Kakashi's place, because the first Hokage's cells within him will resonate with the necklace Naruto is wearing.
Naruto reaches the three-tailed state, and his chakra causes the air to swirl. Then he sends the charging Kabuto flying back with just his chakra, and destroys the bridge. He then sets his sights on Orochimaru, chasing him through the forest, while Sai ignores the falling, unconscious Sakura to follow his mission and survey Naruto.
Our boy Yamato saves her though.
Naruto blows off Orochimaru's arm. And, oh, wait, never mind. That's disgusting, dude. Then, when the fourth tail emerges, the fox completely takes over, and his chakra completely destroys the surrounding area as he transforms into a mini nine-tailed fox. Orochimaru plays with his new pet for a while, even withstanding his incredibly powerful chakra bomb with his triple Rashomon. Orochimaru attempts to impale him with his snake sword, but fails to pierce through, and when Sakura sees what's become of her friend, she sheds tears and runs to stop him. Jesus Christ, dude, you gotta stop doing that. Yamato is too late to stop Naruto from bitch-slapping Sakura, but he does manage to restrain him with his wood style afterwards.
Kabuto also heals Sakura because he thinks they might be able to take out one more Akatsuki member if he lets them live.
Kabuto flees the situation, and as Naruto begins to break free, Yamato uses a special jutsu that resonates with the first Hokage's necklace, and seals the fox's chakra. Then Sakura uses her medical ninjutsu to heal his wounds.
When he awakens, he has no recollection of the damage he caused.
Sai uses this opportunity to approach Orochimaru with a message from Danzo. And of course, we don't get to hear any of it. Apparently it's interesting though. Sai then joins them as one of their subordinates and they disperse. And Yamato's wood clone, who had been watching the whole thing take place, pursues them. Yamato proposes that the mission Sai was given by Danzo may be with the intention of forming an alliance with Orochimaru to destroy the Leaf Village, so that he can then install his own regime as the new Hokage. Before they leave, Naruto collapses from fatigue, and after Yamato says they'll leave him behind if he's unable to join the pursuit, our hero musters up the strength to chase. But Sakura, still feeling the effects of the hit Naruto landed on her, needs time to rest and heal. Then Yamato takes Naruto aside to tell him that he was the one who hurt her. Yamato then tells him that he should rely on his own power to save Sasuke and protect Sakura, not the Nine-Tails. Whilst the two work on their attack strategy, Sakura flips through Sai's precious picture book that he dropped and shows her teammates its strange contents.
We'll get back to that later.
Orochimaru, Kabuto, and Sai arrive at the hideout, where they meet up with Sasuke, whose Sharingan eyes make the usually calm Sai recoil with fear. The Uchiha then leaves with Orochimaru for their scheduled training, and the snake hands Kabuto an envelope containing information on all the Yambu Black Ops under the Hokage's command, courtesy of Danzo. Yamato, Naruto, and Sakura then infiltrate the den of the snake, and find Sai, who has been locked away in his own room. They confront him about his mission, and he confesses that he is to gain the favor of Orochimaru, so that he and Danzo can crush the leaf, but to also feed information on him back to his master, so they can outmaneuver him once the job is done. Sai tells them that he has no name, and that he is simply a tool for Danzo, but when Sakura calls him out for having an attachment to his picture book, he opens up slightly. In the picture book, Sai is on one side fighting various opponents as the book approaches the middle, and his brother is on the other side doing the same. His brother was always complimentary of Sai's drawings, but after he died from sickness, Sai couldn't remember what he was going to draw in the middle of the book, and he left it unfinished. Before Kabuto returns to the room, the trio takes Sai outside and restrain him, and before they head back inside to find Sasuke, Sai questions why Naruto would go so far for Sasuke, who said he doesn't care about him. Naruto says that he used to hate Sasuke, but was able to form a special bond with him, and that no matter who the opponent is, he'll bring Sasuke back. Then Kabuto breaks up the party, and retrieves Sai whilst dodging the trio's attacks, though after he sets Sai free, the Leaf Shinobi betrays him, stating that he wants to see this bond Naruto speaks of between him and Sasuke for himself. That way, he may better understand the bond he once had with his brother. Yamato then places Kabuto under restraint, and has his wood clone keep an eye on him, as the team re-enter the hideout and split up in search of Sasuke. Sai and Naruto then take a break, after the latter collapses from fatigue again, and Sai tells him that he reminds him of his brother. He then remembers his face, and finishes the final pages of the picture book that he wanted to show to him. And just then, they are approached by Orochimaru. Naruto attempts to hold him off while Sai continues searching for Sasuke, but after Yamato and Sakura arrive to help, the Sannin leaves to deal with Sai. The trio then find within Sai's dropped bag an assassination list, and are shocked to find Sasuke's face in it, and Yamato predicts that his true mission is to assassinate Sasuke, Orochimaru's next vessel. Though that was initially Sai's mission, he meant what he said to his team before, and when he finds Sasuke, rather than assassinate him, tells him that he will take him back to the Leaf as a hostage. But Sasuke breaks free of his jutsu destructively, and stands on the clearing above him, as the trio follow the racket to the clearing. So, after 3 years, Team 7 finally reunite.
Minus Kakashi.
And while Sai tells Sasuke that he wants to see these bonds Naruto and Sakura are holding onto with him, Sasuke tells him that those bonds have been severed. Only the bond of hatred between him and his older brother remaining. When Naruto then asks why he didn't kill him in their fight if he truly severed those bonds, Sasuke tells him it was simply a passing whim of his, though this time he states that he'll kill him on a whim. And though Sai attempts to protect him, he sends everyone flying with a Chidori stream. He then uses his snake sword to pierce Captain Yamato and paralyze him. Then the nine-tailed fox within Naruto attempts to convince the boy to break the seal completely. But just as Naruto tells him to fuck off, Sasuke enters his subconscious using his Sharingan, and suppresses the fox's power himself.
The fox tells him that if he kills Naruto, He'll regret it.
Just before Yamato and Sasuke get serious, Orochimaru stops his subordinate. Then he, Sasuke, and Kabuto leave the scene.
Kabuto was set free after Yamato was stabbed and his clone disappeared.
Naruto and Sakura cry at their weakness, but Sai says that it'll help them get their friend back once they get stronger, with still about 6 months left until Orochimaru must use his reanimation jutsu. My guy, what exactly did Jiraiya teach you in those 2.5 years? You learned how to use a slightly bigger Rasengan, you're slightly better at using your shadow clones, I guess, and you're worse at controlling your nine-tailed fox power. So what the fuck? What exactly did you learn in 2.5 goddamn years? Team Kakashi then return home to report their mission a failure, but they declare they won't give up, and the Hokage continues to send them on missions. One day, Naruto and Sakura visit Kakashi in the hospital, where they introduce him to Sai, who's been studying up on how to build better relationships with others. Kakashi tells Naruto that he's thought up a way to make him stronger in a short amount of time, a training regimen they begin once he's released from the hospital. The purpose of their training is to create an ultimate ninjutsu even stronger than the Rasengan. In order to do so, Naruto must first understand how to change his chakra form, which he's accomplished with the Rasengan, and also how to change his chakra nature. There are 5 types of chakra nature: fire, wind, water, lightning, and earth, the foundations of all ninjutsu. After he performs a sort of litmus test, Naruto learns that his chakra nature is wind, and Captain Yamato shows up to help with his training. Captain Yamato's natures are earth and water, which when combined allow him to perform his wood-style jutsu. Naruto's goal is to change his chakra nature to be able to use 2 natures simultaneously, something that will take a tremendous amount of time to master. Though Kakashi has thought up a way to reduce his training time: the use of shadow clones.
Whatever is experienced by a shadow clone is experienced by the caster once it returns to its main body.
And so, Naruto begins his training with his hundreds of shadow clones, by attempting to slice a leaf in half with just the chakra between his palms.
Yamato is there in case the nine-tailed chakra leaks out.
Naruto shows some progress whilst one of his clones has to ask Asuma, who has a wind chakra nature like him, for advice. Asuma shares the trick with his fellow shinobi, and he takes that knowledge back to his main body, which leads to him soon completing the first phase of his training. Elsewhere, the Two Tails Jinchuriki is pursued by 2 members of the Akatsuki, Hidan and Kakuzu, and though she puts up a fight, she becomes just another victim. They then enter the Land of Fire and raid the Fire Temple, which houses some formidable shinobi, slaughtering the lot of them, save one who escapes to warn Konoha. Lady Tsunade then summons 20 newly formed platoons to give them a mission: stop these 2 intruders from rampaging any further in their land, and to kill them if necessary.
Asuma is surprised to learn that Shiriku, his former brother-in-arms when they were members of the Guardian Shinobi 12, who protect the feudal lord of the Land of Fire, was killed.
After a short rest, or a long filler arc if you decided to watch that, Naruto gets back to his training, his next task being to cut a waterfall in half using his wind chakra nature.
Sakura and Sai come to check up on him often, and she even leaves him some of her homemade and edible food pills.
After days and days of training, Naruto and his multiple shadow clones finally cut the waterfall in half, and once again he collapses from exhaustion. After a meal at Ichiraku Tsukemen, yeah, they changed their specialty, he gets right back to training, his goal now being the development of a new jutsu more powerful than the Rasengan. Kakashi explains that if he takes the Rasengan and adds a change in his chakra nature, he can do what even the 4th Hokage couldn't, and complete the jutsu. Kakashi tells him that he believes he's the only shinobi who can surpass the 4th Hokage, but he will have to discover on his own how to do so, and leaves him to figure it out. Elsewhere, Asuma's team consisting of Shikamaru, Izumo, and Kotetsu visit the Fire Temple, and learn that Shiriku's body could not be found, and so they rush to the nearest collections office, predicting that's where their targets would be headed. Hidan and Kakuzu arrive at the collections office to collect their bounty, and whilst the former waits for his teammate outside, he is ambushed by Team Asuma and impaled. But though he feels the pain, he doesn't die, being seemingly immortal, and his teammate then pops out to help. But Hidan tells him to stay back and watch, as Shikamaru uses his shadow stitching jutsu to back up Asuma, as he goes one-on-one with the immortal Akatsuki. Hidan nicks him with his scythe, and after he licks the blood within the diagram drawn with his own blood, Asuma is caught in his opponent's curse. All the damage Hidan takes is now shared by Asuma, and after he pierces his own leg, Shikamaru stops him from going any further. Shikamaru uses his powers of observation to determine that only when Hidan is within his diagram does his curse apply, and so he forces him out of it, and locks him in place with his shadow stitching. Asuma then approaches him, and slices his head off, but the zealot still won't die, and his partner finally butts in to help by assaulting the injured Asuma. He then stitches his partner's head back to his body with his jutsu, and handles the 3 chunin, whilst Hidan deals with the bounty.
Asuma has a 35 million riel bounty on his head for being a former member of the Guardian Shinobi 12.
Izumo and Kotetsu finally do something by charging Akakuzu, though his body is no less strange than his partner's, and he strangles the 2 chunin. Hidan meanwhile inadvertently pierces himself with his own scythe, but he managed to step within his diagram when he did so, causing Asuma to suffer the same lethal wounds. The burnt-out Shikamaru runs to help his sensei, but he doesn't get to him in time to stop Hidan from piercing his heart. Before they can all suffer his fate, reinforcements including Choji and Ino arrive to help, and lucky for them, the leader of the Akatsuki summons the duo to seal the two-tailed beast immediately. As the clouds form overhead, Team 10 come to accept that their sensei won't make it, and he shares his last words with them. He tells Ino to watch over the boys, and to never lose to Sakura and ninjutsu or romance. He tells Choji to have more confidence in himself, and maybe try to lose a few pounds. And lastly, he harkens back to a conversation he once had with Shikamaru when they played shogi, and asked him who he thought the king in the Leaf Village was. He now shares the answer for his ears only, and says that he's counting on him. And lastly, he asks for one last smoke, the rain pouring down on him as he passes away, his students in mourning. Back in the village, Naruto continues to struggle to add a change in chakra nature to the Rasengan, but after a bit of unusual self-doubt, he gets an idea from Kakashi, and is fired up again. The Akatsuki meanwhile work on sealing the Two Tails, and Hidan gets fed up with the leader's fixation on money, and so he explains the Akatsuki's true goal. The first step is to gather money. The second step is to use that money and their tailed beasts to gain a monopoly on war, hiring out shinobi to villages to fight when required. And finally, the last step. World domination, baby. Naruto's training is then put to a halt when they get news of Asuma's death, and Shikamaru takes the responsibility of telling Kurenai, his lover, of the news. When the day of the funeral arrives, Shikamaru misses it, feeling lost, though his father helps him deal with it by telling him to let it all out. So, after he makes a late visit to his grave, he asks Asuma to watch over him, Choji, and Ino, as they plan to head out to finish the mission and wipe out Hidan and Kakuzu, though Lady Tsunade stops them before they slip out in the dead of night, until Kakashi offers to fill in as team leader for this mission, and the Hokage reluctantly agrees, as Team Asuma head out.
Yamato will watch over Naruto's training in the meantime.
As Shikamaru shares his plan with his team, Sakura relays the Hokage's message to Naruto. He has 24 hours to master his new jutsu, or she will send another squad in their place to support Team 10. Ino uses her mind transfer jutsu to survey the lands with a hawk, and they spot their targets, who have finished sealing the Two Tails nearby. Shikamaru ambushes them and catches them in his Shadow Possession Shuriken Jutsu, using Asuma's Chakra Blaze, which augments the user's jutsu as an extension of his own jutsu. He then attempts to force Hidan into killing his own teammate, but Kakuzu's unusual use of his body breaks himself free of the Shadow Possession. Let's take a quick break to learn of the Circle of Chakra Nature, shall we? Yamato explains to Naruto that each chakra nature is weak against the preceding nature in the circle, and strong against the succeeding nature. Naruto's wind nature is weak to fire, one of Sasuke's specialties, but strong against his other nature, lightning.
Naruto says that he and Sasuke are a perfect match, because only his wind nature can amplify and strengthen Sasuke's fire nature.
Now back to the fight. You'll see why I took that detour. Choji attempts to surprise Kakuzu and smash him with his spiky human boulder jutsu, but he hardens his body to protect himself. Then Kakashi surprises him with his Chidori and pierces his heart, as he noticed him use an earth-style jutsu, which is weak against his lightning. Though it appears they've got one down, Kakuzu stands back up, and then he shoots out 4 monsters that each specialize in one type of chakra nature, but the earth-style one immediately crumbles.
These are all hearts he's gathered from shinobi he's killed in the past.
Hidan and Kakuzu's wind-style soul then tag-team Kakashi, but he manages to escape the blast, and saves his teammates from the lightning-style blast directed at them. As expected, Ino and Shoji prove to be useless, forcing Shikamaru and Kakashi to save them. Then they agree to split up their enemies to give them a better chance of winning. Shikamaru takes on the task of dealing with Hidan, and it takes quite a bit of effort, but he manages to catch him in his shadow possession once more, and takes him on a little stroll to the forest. Kakuzu meanwhile tells the group that their headbands remind him of the first Leaf Shinobi he ever fought, the first Hokage, and states that he isn't immortal, but harvests hearts to replace his before it shrivels from old age. Kakuzu's combination of multiple chakra natures attacking from multiple angles proved difficult for Kakashi to deal with, because apparently he's fighting alone. These other two aren't doing fuck all. When Shikamaru finds a nice spot for him and Hidan to fight, he makes their space a little more personal, before his jutsu breaks. Being forced to drop his scythe earlier, Hidan whips out another tool he uses to slice Shikamaru, and as he licks his blood, he commences his curse jutsu. He stabs himself in the heart, and Shikamaru collapses, but the one who suffers the damage is Kakuzu, whose blood Kakashi gathered earlier and passed on to Shikamaru. Though that's now only 2 of Kakuzu's 5 hearts taken care of, as the other 3 enter back into his main body. This hideous creature traps his opponents in place, but before he can finish them off, Team 7 arrive in time to save them. Sai and Sakura are sent to back up Shikamaru, who is in the midst of blowing the religious Hidan to bits. He triggers the ground beneath Hidan's feet to crumble, all of this being a part of Shikamaru's plans and preparations. As deer begin to circle around, he explains that only members of the Nara clan are allowed in this particular forest. All else are forbidden, and will be watched by the clan for eternity.
Yeah, I don't really get it either, but okay.
Shikamaru, feeling his sensei's presence, says goodbye to him for good, and tosses his lighter at Hidan, causing the paper bombs to explode. Hidan lay dismembered at the bottom of the hole, spouting nonsense about his god, Jashin, but it's Shikamaru who hands down judgment, and buries the immortal Akatsuki.
He also gets the lighter back.
Nearby, Naruto attempts to hit Kakuzu with his new jutsu, the Rasen Shuriken, but his attack turns out to be a dud. Still not reliable enough to be used in combat. Naruto asks his sensei to let him try again, this path being one he needs to walk alone, if he's ever going to catch up to Sasuke. Kakuzu switches to a long-range style to counter our hero, but he manages to trick him, and finally lands his new jutsu, its effects tearing apart his opponent's body, like a string of infinite needles. Kakashi is impressed with the student's progress, recognizing that the time for the new generation to take over has come. They report their success to Lady Hokage, but she is concerned about Naruto's wounds. Then Shikamaru visits Asuma's grave, and tells Kurenai that by the time her baby is born, he will become a cool grown-up like his father was. After the coroners at the Leaf examine Kakuzu's corpse, and Naruto's wounds are assessed, the 5th Hokage demands that Naruto be banned from using his new jutsu, for if he continues, the chakra network around his hands will be completely severed. At Orochimaru's hideout, the time has come for the snake to take over Sasuke's body. But before the preparations are complete, the Uchiha attacks him. He tells him that he has surpassed him, and there is no longer anything he can teach him, and that he hates how he toys with human life. When Orochimaru transforms into his snake form, Sasuke enters the second stage of his curse mark, and he battles with him. Then when he is caught in his transference ritual space, Sasuke turns the tables on him and takes over his being, and Kabuto is shocked to see what's become of his master when he arrives to his room. Sasuke then begins to form a team, and the first one of Orochimaru's experiments that he frees is Suigetsu from the village hidden in the mist. Suigetsu agrees to help Sasuke if he can get him his predecessor Zabuza's sword for him, and the youngster goes down memory lane when he visits the Land of Waves. They learn that the blade was taken from the grave by a man named Tenzin Daikoku, a politician and leader of a band of thugs, and the duo head to his castle to retrieve the sword. With thousands of guards protecting the castle, Sasuke tells Suigetsu to not kill anyone, and the two work their way through to the leader and steal the executioner's blade from him.
So Sasuke still got a soft side to him, huh?
The duo then head to Orochimaru's southern hideout to add its warden to their little team. Though Karin is initially against joining them, Sasuke is adamant that he needs her power to sense chakra on his team, and when Suigetsu leaves to release the prisoners, she has a change of heart.
She has a crush on him and wants it to be just them two together.
The trio then head to the northern hideout, Sasuke seeking to free the unhinged Jugo, against his teammates' advice. Jugo is the original carrier of the enzyme used to create the curse mark, and the team work their way through the hideout in the middle of an outbreak. They find the rampaging ginger, and he says that ever since his best friend Kimimaru died, he can't leave, as he relentlessly attacks Sasuke. Though when Jugo learns that it is Sasuke Uchiha in front of him, the man Kimimaru risks his life for, and told Jugo would be like his reincarnation, he agrees to follow him. With his team now complete, Sasuke tells them his goal: to kill Itachi Uchiha, hoping their powers can help him reach his goal, and he calls their group Hebi.
Suigetsu also wants to gather one of the other 7 hidden mist blades, Samehada, which is possessed by Kisame.
In the Leaf Village, word of Orochimaru's defeat at the hands of Sasuke reaches his old teammates, and when they realize his goal is still to find and kill Itachi, Naruto states that they will find him first.
Flashback time!
Years ago, during the Third Great Ninja War, a young Kakashi Hatake becomes a Jonin and leads his first 3-man squad with his teammates, Rin Nohara and Obito Uchiha.
Kakashi and Obito don't get along.
Their mission, given by their sensei, Minato Namikaze, is to infiltrate behind enemy lines and destroy the bridge to disrupt their support operation. Kakashi ignores his sensei's warnings and suffers an injury using his new Chidori Jutsu. Then after Minato breaks up another Kakashi-Obito squabble, he tells his students that teamwork is more important for shinobi than anything else.
Young Kakashi is obsessed with rules and regulations.
Just chill out, dude. Have some fun.
That night, Minato tells Obito the story of Kakashi's father. The White Fang of the Leaf, Sakumo Hatake, was a highly skilled shinobi, though when he put a mission on hold to save his comrades, he was vilified by the village for breaking the ironclad rule of never abandoning a mission. The ordeal took a toll on the shinobi, until one day he took his own life, and since that day, Kakashi has devoted himself to the laws and regulations of the village. The next day, Minato breaks off to create a diversion for the team, and the children are attacked by some stone shinobi, who kidnap Rin and vanish. Obito wants to save her, whilst Kakashi wants to finish the mission, and the Uchiha decides to go it alone to save her, unable to shake the rigid Kakashi's views. In the ninja world, those who break the rules are scum, but those who would abandon their friends are even worse than scum. Obito finds where his enemies are hiding, but it's quickly discovered, though Kakashi swoops in to save him, having had a change of heart. Kakashi has his left eye sliced by their opponent, and just before they are finished off, Obito awakens his Sharingan and sees through his camouflage jutsu to kill him. The two then enter the stone hideout and use their teamwork to get past their last opponent and release Rin from his genjutsu, though the stone shinobi uses his rock breaker jutsu to cause the hideout to collapse, and Obito saves Kakashi from some falling rock, only to get crushed himself. They are unable to save him, but with his last words, Obito tells Kakashi that he thinks he'll make a great Jonin, and gives him his Sharingan as a gift, which Rin transplants to Kakashi with her medical ninjutsu. He then exits the rock and defeats the stone ninja, his newly transplanted Sharingan complementing his Chidori perfectly. Then Obito tells Kakashi to take care of Rin, just as reinforcements arrive to bury the Leaf Shinobi. Though Kakashi is determined to hold them off, there are too many opponents for him to handle on his own. But the yellow flash of the leaf arrives in time to save them. They end up completing their mission, and the Battle of Kanabi Bridge spawned 2 new heroes of the Leaf Village, each with their own Sharingan. The newly paired Deidara and Tobi capture the Three Tails, who lacks a Jinchuriki, and Kisame captures the Four Tails host. Then the remaining Akatsuki gather to seal them both simultaneously. Before that, however, their leader informs them that their former member Orochimaru has been killed by Sasuke Uchiha, and that he's gathering members with the goal of finding and killing Itachi. Sasuke takes his team to an Uchiha clan hideout, where they gather tools for the upcoming battle. Aw, look at these ninja cats, they're so cute! Hebi then prepared to set out, just as Team 8 and Team 7 of the Leaf Village prepare to do the same, with the same goal in mind, finding Itachi.
Though Sasuke wants to kill him, whilst the Leaf just want to capture him.
With the help of Kakashi's ninja hounds, they begin their wide-range search for the former Leaf Shinobi, and with the sealing of the 3 and 4 Tails complete, Deidara and Tobi split off to find a new target. The team of Naruto, Yamato, Hinata, and Big Bark Bull encounter Kabuto, who gives them information he's gathered on the Akatsuki, as a token of his gratitude to Naruto. Kabuto says that he's decided to become like Naruto, being confident in his own identity or some shit, and he shares that he's absorbed some of Lord Orochimaru's power into his body. He says that his priority is Sasuke, but when he masters Orochimaru's power, he will find Naruto again. Then he disappears. Sasuke, who travels alone, as his teammates attempt to gather information on Itachi's whereabouts, is spotted by Deidara, who attempts to land a surprise attack on him. But the man who took down Orochimaru won't be defeated that easily, and they refuse to give him information on Itachi, so he slices down Tobi, but he just gets back up.
Deidara wanted to take down Orochimaru himself, so he wants payback on Sasuke.
Deidara attacks him with various forms of his detonating clay. Then he ups the stakes with his C2 dragon, as he shoots missiles at him from above, whilst Tobi sets his landmines below. But Sasuke shows his genius by using his sword as a foothold to jump off, in order for his Chidori stream to reach his dragon, whilst he maneuvers his shuriken to stab him and send him falling onto his own landmines. Deidara manages to avoid the explosion, however, but he becomes pissed off just looking at Sasuke, whose eyes remind him of Itachi. When Itachi, Kisame, and Sasori attempted to recruit Deidara to the Akatsuki, Itachi made a fool of him with Genjutsu, as he almost blew himself up. And since then he's had a deep hatred of the man who mocked his art. Deidara then begins eating his detonating clay, and spawns his C4 Karura Jutsu. Sasuke flees from the giant Deidara, though when it disintegrates, it leaves behind countless microscopic explosives that enter any and every living being's cells and destroy them from the inside. He appears to have vaporized his opponent, but Sasuke appears behind him and pierces his chest, his Sharingan allowing him to see the tiny explosives and avoid them. But Deidara has another trick up his sleeve, and traps him in another C4 attack, though Sasuke breaks out of the clay bubble, and uses the Chidori on himself to disable the nano-sized explosives within his body.
He verified throughout the fight that Deidara uses Earth style, and lightning is superior to Earth.
Then, with both of them on the ground and low on chakra, Deidara is ticked off by the look in Sasuke's eyes that have no respect for his art, and he rips off his shirt to prepare his ultimate art. Show some goddamn respect for my boy Deidara's art, come on! I feel you, bro. His chest mouth thing eats the detonating clay, and turns his entire body into a bomb, then blows himself up, the blast radius covering 10 kilometers, giving Sasuke no chance to escape. Of course he does, though.
Tobi ran from Deidara's C4 Karura earlier, but he was in the range of this one. RIP.
Both the Hebi members and the Leaf Shinobi notice the blast, and the latter head towards it. Then Suigetsu uses a special summoning jutsu that summons Orochimaru's snake Manda. Sasuke hid inside Manda, then transported himself to another dimension to avoid the blast, saving his life, but sacrificing the snake's life, against its will. When Karin and Jugo arrive, they take Sasuke to an inn to treat his wounds and recover his strength, still no closer to finding Itachi.
Sasuke managed to suppress Jugo's bloodlust, but Suigetsu and Karin stay arguing.
News of Deidara's death and Sasuke's supposed death is reported to the Akatsuki by Zetsu, but Itachi later tells Kisame that he knows Sasuke survived. The Leaf Shinobi meanwhile all gather at the blast site, and Kiba determines Sasuke is still alive as he picks up on his scent, and they set out to track him. The Akatsuki leader, Pain, is visited by his leader, who reports that Sasuke's eyes will soon surpass Itachi's, and that he's coming along nicely. He then tells them to hurry up with the capture of the Jinchuriki, and states that the true power of the Sharingan belongs to him, Madara Uchiha, not Tobi, apparently.
His voice is way more menacing here.
Kiba leads the way to Sasuke, though Karin senses them coming, and warns her crush. They then leave the inn to search Akatsuki hideouts discovered by Jugo's birds, and Karin uses this ability of his to have the birds scatter Sasuke's scent in different directions. Naruto sends out multiple shadow clones to track these scents, and in the process runs into Itachi, who comes to him to talk. Itachi asks why Naruto is so attached to his brother, and our hero says that he thinks of him like a brother more than he ever would. Itachi traps him in his genjutsu, and talks about something, then disperses his shadow clone and leaves. Back in the Leaf Village, Jiraiya informs the Hokage that he's discovered the whereabouts of the Akatsuki leader. He and Tsunade share a drink as he tells her he is located in a tightly operated village hidden in the rain, and against her wishes, he states that he'll investigate alone. Tsunade tells him to make sure to come back. Then the two discuss Naruto, how he resembles his father, but acts more like his mother. Then, Jiraiya heads off on his mission, as tears stream down Tsunade's face, her heart filled with worry for her old friend.
And another flashback.
As a boy, Jiraiya was just as knuckleheaded and goofy as Naruto, though his desire to impress the ladies motivated him enough to learn the cool summoning jutsu, though when he performed the jutsu without a contract with an animal, he ended up being transported to Mount Miyoboku, the land of the toads. One of the elder toads, Lord Fukasaku, has been expecting Jiraiya, as the great Lord Elder predicted a human child would stumble into their land. From then on, Jiraiya splits his time between training with the toads and in the Leaf Village, and when he gets a bit older, he is summoned by the great Lord Elder, who shares his prophecy with him. He prophesies that Jiraiya will become a great ninja, and will teach a disciple who will bring about a great change in the ninja world. Whether that change is great stability or great destruction, he does not know. Jiraiya will come to a point where he must make a critical selection that will guide which way the change will go. He also sees the youngster traveling the world, writing books, and so Jiraiya decides to do just that. He travels around searching for his destiny, but the world is entering an era of war, and he returns to the village to fight in the Second Great Ninja War. He, Tsunade, and Orochimaru are the only ones left standing against the infamous leader of the village hidden in the rain, Hanzo of the Salamander, and he names the three the Leaf Sannin, letting them live. Then, whilst taking a rest, the ninja are approached by three homeless children from the hidden rain, and Jiraiya decides to stay behind to teach them how to take care of themselves.
Their names are like, subscribe, and comment. Wait, that doesn't sound right. Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, do those things, and then I'll tell you what their names are, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Alright, dope. Their names are Nagato, Yahiko, and Konan.
One day, Yahiko and Nagato are attacked by a hidden stone shinobi, and Nagato loses control and kills him. And when Jiraiya sees his eyes, he cannot believe his own. Nagato possesses the Rinnegan, the most noble of the three great visual jutsu, which it is said was possessed by the Sage of the Six Paths, the father of all shinobi and jutsu. Seeing this, Jiraiya feels he may have found his destiny, and decides to teach the children ninjutsu whilst he works on his first book. Nagato is guilt-ridden over the murder of another, but says that he'll endure any pain in order to protect Yahiko and Konan.
Yahiko is the more outspoken one, and used to steal food to feed the others.
After 3 years of training, the trio are finally skilled enough to take down one of Jiraiya's shadow clones, and the sage considers his job done as he leaves them to their own destinies. When he returns home, war rages on, and he receives a message from a toad that his 3 students have died, leaving him grief-stricken. Years later, another of Jiraiya's students and the eventual 4th Hokage, Minato Namikaze, praises his first book, Tales of a Gutsy Ninja, taking a particular liking to the tenacious main character. Then he and his wife, Kushina, ask his sensei's permission to name their unborn child after him, and it would be years until Jiraiya would meet this child himself, Naruto. Jiraiya infiltrates the Hidden Rain village, and is surprised to find that it's very united, and that the people worship their leader Pain, who brought peace to the land.
Hanzo of the Salamander's name is taboo around there now.
He then traps a couple genin from the village in the belly of a frog, and after he turns one of them into a frog, the other spills all he knows about Pain. Little is known about Lord Pain, Lady Angel doing the speeches and issuing of orders on his behalf, but the reason people worship him is because he supposedly single-handedly took down Hanzo in the old Hidden Rain village, as well as anyone associated with him. The village sees him as a god, and when the Rain Ninja refuses to talk any further, Jiraiya leaves him in the toad, and decides to meet this god for himself. Before he does that, however, he releases a frog from his stomach that holds the key to Naruto's Fox Seal, and tells Giratora to store himself inside Naruto should he not return. Jiraiya feels that Minato sealed the fox's power inside his son, so that he could one day control it, and believes that the nine-tailed fox attack was not a natural phenomenon, but was summoned by someone, Madara Uchiha being the only one in history known to be able to do this.
He was one of the founders of the Leaf Village alongside the first Hokage.
Thus, Jiraiya exits his frog in disguise as the Hidden Rain Ninja, and Lady Angel observes him and reports back to Pain the identity of the intruder, Jiraiya Sensei. Lady Angel, aka Konan, then holds off her former teacher, and Jiraiya is sad to see the path his former students have gone down, as Pain appears in front of him too. Though his appearance has changed, Nagato's eyes are the same, and when Jiraiya asks him what became of Yahiko, his former student tells him that he died a long time ago. Nagato tells him that Pain has made him mature, and ascend from a man to a god, and that he is gathering the tailed beasts in order to develop a destructive forbidden jutsu. This jutsu will be shared with all the villages, and once millions die and the entire world knows Pain, only then will war stop and the world mature. With the talking over, Pain summons a lizard of some sort, whilst Jiraiya summons a toad sage by the name of Gamaken, whilst he plans to use the Honored Sage mode, but he will not be able to release his hands for minutes. Pain disappears on his lizard, and he summons some dogs that the rather ungraceful Mr. Gamaken fights off, but no matter how many he knocks down, they keep on multiplying. Once they defeat the dogs, a plethora of other animals are summoned against him, and Jiraiya ponders why the boy who could use all 6 changes in chakra nature like no other shinobi could, is only using the summoning jutsu against him. Finally, Jiraiya builds up enough energy to enter Honored Sage mode, as he summons the 2 great sages, Fukasaku and Shima, or Ma and Pa. Ma takes down the invisible lizard, and Pain then summons again, this time 2 humans, each with their own Rinnegan. One of these 3 continues to absorb his jutsu, and they deduce that their eyes are connected somehow, and the toads urge Jiraiya to retreat to formulate a plan. He escapes into the pipes, and the toads state that Genjutsu is their best bet against their 3 linked opponents. So, Ma and Pa perform their auditory Genjutsu, and manage to trap the 3 in it, as Jiraiya finishes the job in the real world. Though after he lets his guard down, he's attacked by another opponent, and loses his left arm, as the 6 paths of pain appear before them, one of them closely resembling Yahiko. Jiraiya is more confused than ever over who Pain really is, and he manages to trap one of them in his barrier and defeat it, but takes a heavy blow as a result. Rather than take the chance to retreat, Jiraiya thinks back to what the Great Lord Elder told him, how the time will come when he's forced to make a critical selection. Aware it will cost him his life, he decides to face pain again to confirm a suspicion. As soon as he exits his barrier, he recognizes every path of pain as a shinobi he's crossed paths with before, but he is piped by them before he can act on that information. But he brings himself back with sheer willpower, and with the last of his strength writes a message on Pa's back before the toad disappears, and pain finishes him for good, thus closing the tale on Jiraiya the Gallant. Elsewhere, Sasuke continues his search of the Akatsuki hideouts for Itachi, and finds his clone at one of them, where he tells him to meet him at the Uchiha hideout alone. On their way there, Hebi runs through one of Naruto's shadow clones, and he notifies his search party that he's found him. When they arrive at the Uchiha hideout, Kisame stops them from going any further, allowing only Sasuke to pass per Itachi's orders. But while they wait, Suigetsu can't help but have a crack at his senior, and the sword he's been searching for. Meanwhile, Tobi holds off the Leaf Shinobi pursuing Sasuke with his goofy persona and ability to dodge seemingly any attack. At last, Sasuke comes face to face with his elder brother, ready to exact his revenge. But Itachi has many tricks up his sleeve.
If you want a backstory of these two, watch the Naruto recap.
Sasuke asks who the other person who awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan is, that Itachi mentioned the night he killed the clan, reasoning that that person must have been his co-conspirator in the slaughter, and he tells him that it is Madara Uchiha. Itachi scolds Sasuke for daring to face him without having achieved the Mangekyo Sharingan by killing his best friend, and explains its secrets to his brother. The Mangekyo Sharingan was first achieved by Madara and his younger brother, when they killed those precious to them in the clan. After Madara united the clan, he soon began to go blind, as the more the Mangekyo Sharingan is used, the more its light fades. In order to regain the light in his eyes, Madara stole his brother's eyes and transplanted them, and he achieved a more powerful and everlasting, eternal Mangekyo Sharingan.
And apparently many Uchiha thereafter tried to do the same.
He would use that power to exert dominance over other clans, and eventually formed an alliance with the Senju clan, with whose leader, the future first Hokage, he founded the Leaf Village with. He would eventually clash with the first Hokage and lose the battle, being thought dead, but he's been biding his time and building an organization from the shadows, the Akatsuki. Itachi states that he was also behind the Ninetales attack, but calls Madara a loser who isn't capable of grasping the Uchiha's greatness. He then attempts to steal Sasuke's eyes to surpass Madara and achieve eternal light in his eyes. Oh wait, no, was that all a Genjutsu? Anyways, the two engage in combat once more, and Itachi pins him against the wall, tearing out one of his eyes. But before he can take the other, Sasuke uses the power of his curse mark. But this entire exchange is merely an illusion, fucking of course it is, and Sasuke becomes the first to break through Itachi's Tsukuyomi.
Also, Zetsu is watching this all take place, and his two halves are basically our narrators for this fight. They get a little annoying.
With the Genjutsu battle pointless, the two engage in physical combat, and they break through to the rooftops, where Itachi catches his brother in his Amaterasu.
A black flame ninjutsu that doesn't stop burning until its target is ash.
Though Sasuke evades that too with his substitution jutsu, and just as he's out of chakra, he uses his ultimate jutsu, Kirin, to tame the lightning in the atmosphere and direct it at his brother. But the Uchiha just won't die, and Itachi reveals his final trump card, the Susanoo, which acts as both a shield and a weapon. Sasuke's chakra now depleted, Orochimaru breaks free of his host's body with his 8-headed serpent jutsu, but Itachi pierces him with his Totsuka blade that seals its targets in a Genjutsu world for all eternity. Sasuke now free of his curse mark, and with no way to pierce Itachi's defenses, he trembles as his brother approaches to seal his eyes. Though just as he reaches his little brother, he utters some words to him, then pokes his forehead like he used to, then succumbs to his illness, and dies.
He was coughing up blood and shit earlier.
The Leaf Shinobi are meanwhile still dealing with Tobi, and when Shino swarms them with insects, he completely disappears from their sight without a trace. but he then reappears just as if nothing happened, at which point Zetsu appears and tells him and his audience that Sasuke has won the battle. Kakashi notices his Sharingan as his opponent drops his whimsical persona and vanishes to the site of the battle, taking both Uchiha's bodies away with him to an Akatsuki hideout. The Hidden Leaf arrives soon after and find nothing but rubble, Naruto missing his chance yet again to save his friend. At the hideout, Madara appears in front of a waking Sasuke, but as soon as he shows him his Sharingan, Sasuke's left eye hits him with an Amaterasu. The masked man somehow survives, and is impressed with Itachi's preparedness, stating that Itachi must have planted that Amaterasu in Sasuke before he died, to trigger at the sight of Madara's Sharingan should they ever meet. When Sasuke hears that this was done to protect him, he can't compute, and so Madara tells him the true life story of his older brother.
But before that, a history lesson.
Over 80 years ago, the shinobi world was in a warring states period, with nations hiring clans to fight for them in power struggles. Two clans stood out from the rest, the Uchiha and the Senju, and Madara constantly faced off with and had respect for their leader, Hashirama. Eventually, both clans became wary of the fighting, and against Madara's wishes, he agreed to a truce with the Senju, eventually helping found the Hidden Leaf Village, and the system of one village to one nation was born. Hashirama was elected first Hokage, and when Madara suggested an Uchiha take that mantle, not even his own clan would support him, and he left the village feeling betrayed. He returned waging war with the Ninetales under his control, but was stopped by Hashirama, and was thought dead ever since. When Hashirama's younger brother took over as second Hokage, he bestowed upon the Uchiha the responsibility of leading the Hidden Leaf police force, but many Uchiha recognized this as a way to separate them from the main governing body and keep an eye on them, and so an anti-establishment faction was born. When the Ninetales attacked 16 years ago, the village elders believed the Uchiha to be behind it as a way to seize power, and so they were unjustly placed under strict surveillance and forced to relocate to the outskirts of the village.
The third Hokage tried to stand up for the Uchiha, but Danzo and the other elders weren't having it.
Eventually, the Uchiha's discontent grew, to the point they were plotting a coup d'etat led by Sasuke's father Fugaku, and Itachi acted as the village's spy on his own clan.
The Uchiha expected him to spy on the Anbu Black Ops, so he was basically a double agent.
Itachi was given the mission to wipe out the Uchiha by the village elders, to avoid all-out war, and Itachi, having grown up during a war, was a pacifist who put his village's safety above all else, and so he shouldered the burden of destroying his own brethren. Itachi alone knew Madara lived, and he approached him asking for his help, so long as he doesn't touch the village, or Sasuke. Before he fled the village, Itachi pleaded with the third Hokage to protect his younger brother from Danzo, and he threatened Danzo with leaking intel to other nations should he touch Sasuke. Itachi wanted Sasuke to use his hatred to gain power, then planned on dying in battle against him to bestow upon him even greater power. Though Sasuke finds it hard to believe that the man who just tried to kill him several times was really trying to protect him. But Madara says that it was all part of his calculations, so that he could draw Orochimaru out of him and free him from the curse mark. Itachi prolonged his life with drugs just so he could face Sasuke and die at his hands, elevating him as a hero of the Leaf Village, saving the Uchiha name, and bestowing upon him great power. All this he did for his precious little brother. Sasuke goes through a phase of denial, but when he has time to reflect, he sheds tears for his older brother, and renames his group Taka, with the sole goal of destroying the Hidden Leaf Village that caused his brother so much pain. They ally with the Akatsuki and are tasked with hunting the Eight Tails, and Sasuke gets to put his newly awakened Mangekyo Sharingan to use. In the village hidden in the clouds, they head to Unraikyo, where they find their target Killer Bee, the perfect Jinchuriki. The SoundCloud rapper wields 8 blades and severely injures Sasuke, but he bites Karin and is all good. The trio of Jugo, Suigetsu, and Sasuke then attack him together, but still can't bring him down, and he even manages to break out of Sasuke's Genjutsu, landing another fatal blow on him. This time Jugo merges his body and chakra with him to save him, though it reverts him to a child, and Suigetsu holds off the transformed Eight Tails to allow the others to retreat. But he is absolutely demolished by the tailed beast's blast, and Sasuke uses his Amaterasu as a last resort, and it does enough to defeat their opponent, and he carries his body back to the Akatsuki. And when B's brother, the Raikage, is notified of his capture, he is infuriated, and vows to make the Akatsuki pay. Back in the Leaf Village, Naruto is given news of his beloved brother's death by Lord Fukusaku and Lady Hokage, and he is furious with Tsunade for letting him leave on such a dangerous mission alone, and storms out. Fukusaku provides them with one of Pain's bodies, the captured Rain Ninja, and the message on his back, all recovered by Jiraiya at the cost of his life. The Hokage gets right on assigning the proper teams to get the most information out of these clues, and at the end of the day, Tsunade finally finds some time to mourn her dear friend. Likewise, Naruto feels lost without his master watching over him, but it's another of his mentors, Iruka, who comforts him and cheers him up. The next day, Shikamaru, who knows what it's like to lose a sensei, tells him that it's time they step up and become awesome shinobi just like their teachers. Naruto then helps the Cipher Division decipher Jiraiya's last message. It translates, "The real one's not among them," though even Lord Fukusaku can't do much with that information alone. And whilst the autopsy team continues to examine Pain's body, the Toad Sage invites Naruto to Mount Myoboku to train in Sage Jutsu under him, just as Jiraiya Boy did. So, the two depart, and Fukusaku explains that Sage Jutsu involves drawing in nature energy and combining it with one's own innate chakra to perform jutsu at a higher level than normal. Naruto practices absorbing this nature energy, with the risk of turning into a frog without the ability to revert back if he takes in too much. But Lord Fukusaku keeps an eye on him to ensure that doesn't happen. Meanwhile, with all but the Nine Tails captured, Pain makes preparations to leave for the Leaf Village, where he plans to capture the Akatsuki's final target. Though when they begin their sealing of the Eight Tails, they find that Sasuke has been duped, as it's simply a substitution that he captured. Naruto shows remarkable progress in his Sage Jutsu training, and Lord Fukusaku provides him with Jiraiya's first book, Tales of a Gutsy Ninja, to read in his spare time. Without the toad oil to aid in his absorption of nature energy, Naruto lacks the concentration necessary to gather it, and so he is put through some rather extreme concentration training. After he masters Sage Jutsu under this new training regimen, he trains with Lord Fukusaku in Frog Kumite, a type of Sage Taijutsu. In the village hidden in the clouds, after the trackers lost contact with the village, Lord Raikage sends word to the Leaf that they will hunt down their rogue ninja Sasuke Uchiha, and plans to convene a Five Kage Summit conference with the 5 great nations to deal with the Akatsuki once and for all. Before the Leaf can receive any word of this, they are assaulted by Pain, who easily infiltrates the village along with Konan. His 6 paths wreak destruction across the village, while seeking out information on Naruto's whereabouts. Lady Hokage sounds the alarm and sends for Naruto's return, standing up to the village elders who try to stop her, being that he is their very target.
But when they leave the room, Danzo kills the messenger frog before it can leave.
Shizune then reports with her autopsy report. The rods present throughout Pain's bodies act as chakra receivers. Tsunade summons Katsuyu, who splits apart and channels her master's chakra to heal the wounded across the village. Throughout the village, whilst Konan is looking sexy, Yahiko's path of pain is intercepted by Kakashi, who was sent flying by a shockwave. Another path of pain arrives to cause him trouble, but Choji, his father, and some other Leaf Shinobi arrive to help. Unfortunately, he repels all their attacks with his almighty push, leaving only the 3 important characters left. Kakashi comes up with a clever plan to trap him, but his other path protects him in time. Then he headshots Kakashi with a nail, but he uses his Sharingan to save himself, then saves Choji from a last-ditch missile from the fallen path of pain with his dimension warping ability as well, before he passes away.
He catches up with his father over a fireplace in the afterlife, though. Kinda nice.
The summoning path of pain wreaks havoc on the interrogation division with its petting zoo. Just as they begin to crack the mystery of pain, Konohamaru has a moment of his own when he saves his teacher Ebisu from a path of pain, using his newly learned Rasengan courtesy of Naruto. who, by the way, has been training this entire time to enter Sage Mode whilst moving, because he can't just sit still in a battle to gather energy. Just as Shizune and Inoichi work out that somebody is operating from the shadows, sending chakra to the 6 paths of pain, one of them captures Shizune, and learns from her mind that Naruto is on Mount Miyaboku, then kills her. With that information in mind, the pains all retreat, except Yahiko, who floats above the village spouting nonsense about the world knowing true peace through pain, and uses the power of all 6 paths to unleash an almighty push that levels the village flat. Before the explosion, Lady Shima, who happened to be gathering provisions near the village, received a message from Fukasaku to summon them to the village, having received word that the messenger frog has been killed. Thus, as Sakura lays eyes on the barren wasteland of her home, she screams for Naruto to hurry, and just then, in badass fashion, our hero arrives with the toads of Mount Miyaboku, Sage Mode activated. The villagers manage to survive thanks to Katsuyu protecting them with Tsunade's chakra, but the exhausted Hokage still goes face to face with pain to make him pay. But Naruto takes out one of the paths attacking her with one blow, and has Gamakichi escort her away from the battlefield, as he begins his showdown with his master's killer. Whilst the large toads handle the summoned animals, Naruto knocks down 3 more paths of pain, though his 2 Rasen Shuriken used up all of his Sage chakra.
Sage Mode helps him heal quicker, so he can now use the Rasen Shuriken.
Though 2 shadow clones were left in Mount Miyaboku to gather nature energy, and when they reverse summon one of them, he releases it, allowing his main body to enter Sage Mode again. After Naruto takes out the path that can resurrect the others, he has only 2 left, and Tendo Pain sends the giant toads flying with his almighty push. When the second Pain absorbs too much of Naruto's nature chakra, he transforms into a toad, and just as Ma and Pa prepare to do their Genjutsu song, Pain uses his universal pull to force Fukasaku into his chakra rod, killing the old sage. He then pins Naruto down with another rod, and tells him that vengeance only breeds more vengeance, and his peace will be brought about through fear of destruction, or something. Before he can take him away, Hinata steps in to protect her crush with no fear in her eyes, and finally tells him that she loves him. She attempts to save him, and resists until the very end. Then pain pierces her body, and this image infuriates Naruto, to the point that the Ninetales completely takes over. This monster attacks with the singular purpose of killing his enemy, and the 2 clash in a battle that changes the very landscape they fight on. The first Hokage's necklace reacts to his seal, but the fox simply breaks it, continuing to attack his opponent relentlessly, and chase him out of the village. But Pain uses his planetary destruction jutsu to trap him in a ginormous ball of rock, and just as Naruto's subconscious is about to release the seal on the Ninetales completely, the 4th Hokage stops him. He rigged the seal so that he would appear should such a situation arise, and when he tells Naruto that he is his father, he laughs tears of joy, then punches him for setting his life up to be so difficult. Minato apologizes, but tells his son he believes he has the ability to control its power, and that the one who unleashed the fox on the village 16 years ago was the masked Akatsuki member. Before his chakra fades, he rebuilds the seal one last time, and entrusts his son to find an answer to end the cycle of hatred the world finds itself in. God damn, talk about parental pressure, dude. So, the Ninetales is suppressed again, and Naruto lands a Rasengan on the final path of pain, to end the fight. Katsuyu has been feeding information to Naruto all fight, and he pinpointed Nagato's location when he had a chakra rod lodged in him with his Sage Jutsu, and so he heads there alone. And so, he comes face to face with the object of his hatred, but he holds back his desire to kill him, to hear the story of his pain. Oh yeah, Konan is here too. When Nagato was a boy, 2 hidden leaf ninja murdered his parents, mistaking them for ninja, and he lost control and killed them in turn. He wandered the streets as an orphan thereafter, and soon met Konan and Yahiko, and the 3 stole food to survive.
I would be remiss to not mention the dog that followed Nagato around named Chibi. So cute.
They soon encountered the Sannin and were taught by Jiraiya, who told Nagato that he may be the reincarnation of the Sage of 6 Paths, who believed the day would come when people could truly understand each other. When Jiraiya left his students, They formed an organization under Yahiko's leadership that sought peace without the use of force, though they were tricked by the then hidden Rain leader Hanzo, who made them believe they would be the access for peace talks with the warring nations. But he really just wanted to get rid of them, and with Konan as hostage, Hanzo demanded their leader Yahiko's head, and the youngster thrust himself into Nagato's kunai to spare his friends' lives. But Hanzo tried to kill them anyways, and in his anger, Nagato summoned the Ghetto statue, which utilized his chakra to wipe out all of Hanzo's forces, though their leader escaped. After that, he lost hope in a world free of hatred, and awaits Naruto's response to his story. He says that he understands him, but still can't forgive him, and wants to kill him, but decides to believe in his sensei's belief that true peace is possible. He tells Nagato that he was the inspiration for Jiraiya's first book, and he asks them to believe in him, the namesake of the hero of that book. Nagato gets talk no jutsu'd, and decides to believe in Naruto Uzumaki, then uses the ghetto art of Rinne Rebirth to revive all who he killed within the village.
Kakashi got to forgive his father for the way he ended his life before he's brought back.
This costs him his life, and Konan takes the bodies of Yahiko and Nagato with her, before entrusting their dreams to Naruto. Our hero attempts to stumble his way back home, though Kakashi catches him before he collapses, and carries him the rest of the way. When he arrives, he finds the entire village waiting for him, Katsuyu having relayed the news to all of them, and he finally gets the recognition he's always desired, as hero of the village. With the battle over, the Raikage's messengers arrive at the Leaf Village to deliver a message to the Hokage. However, with Lady Tsunade in a coma, Danzo relieves her of her duties, and takes over as 6th Hokage, and reads the letter from the Raikage. He agrees in declaring Sasuke a rogue ninja, and gives approval to hunt him down, and when the Cloud Ninja overhears Sakura and Naruto discussing Sasuke, they attack them. They tell them that their master was abducted by him, and that he's joined the Akatsuki, and they wonder what's become of their old friend. Sasuke is currently on his way to the Leaf with Taka, but Madara stops them to tell them of their failure in capturing the Eight Tails, and to tell Sasuke that the Hidden Leaf is no more. When Sasuke learns that Danzo, the man responsible for putting Itachi in such a difficult position, is the new Hokage, he decides to head to the Five Kage Summit to kill him. Meanwhile, Naruto won't give up any information on Sasuke to the Cloud Ninja, Omoi and Karui, the latter beating him to a pulp to no avail. Then he convinces Kakashi and Yamato to accompany him on his way to find the Raikage, to convince him to forgive Sasuke. Thus, each of the 5 Kage depart for the summit, and each with the 2 permitted bodyguards in attendance.
On the way, Danzo is ambushed, and we get to see him fight for the first time. With his Sharingan? Where'd this motherfucker get a Sharingan?
The summit is to take place in the Land of Iron, a land of neutrality protected not by shinobi, but samurai. Team Samui rendezvous with their Raikage there, but were tailed by Naruto and co., who begs the Raikage to cancel the kill order on Sasuke. But the burly man ignores his pleas, showing no respect to someone who bows their heads so easily. Not long after, the 5 Kage Summit commences, with the samurai Mifune serving as moderator. The Raikage accuses some of the other Kage of using the Akatsuki in the past, and they all argue about lots of past war bullshit. Then Mifune proposes they form an allied force until the Akatsuki is dealt with the Hokage serving as its leader. Of course, there is some opposition to this, namely by the Raikage, and then Ao, one of the Mizukage's guards, uses his stolen Byakugan to assess Danzo's chakra, and recognizes his right eye to have belonged to Shisui Uchiha, a master in manipulation with his ocular jutsu. Before this can go any further, White Zetsu appears out of nowhere, and tells them that Sasuke is on the premises, and so the search is on. Back in the Leaf Village, Sai approaches Sakura to tell her that Naruto clearly loves her, and the burden of his promise to her to bring Sasuke back is tearing him apart. Thus, Sakura comes up with a plan to stop Sasuke herself, and heads to the Land of Iron with Kiba, Sai, and Lee. Whilst Naruto rests at an inn, Madara appears before him to reveal the truth about Itachi Uchiha. He and his sensei struggle to believe this story, and the fact that Sasuke chose revenge, rather than carrying on Itachi's wishes of protecting the Leaf Village. Madara says that this is the Uchiha's blood-soaked destiny of hatred, dating back to the Sage of the Six Paths. The Sage had two children. One believed power was the path to peace, the other love, and the Sage chose the latter to be his successor, which didn't sit well with his brother, who engaged him in battle. Their descendants continued to battle for generations, eventually leading to the Uchiha and Senju clans. And next up in the cycle of battle is Naruto vs Sasuke. When the Raikage A and his guards, C and Darui, find Sasuke, they engage in battle with him and Taka, intent on killing them.
Karin's just hiding though.
In the meeting room, all trust is lost in Danzo after Ao reveals his secret. Then Gaara asks when it was that all the Kage forsook themselves, and rushes to see Sasuke. He stops the Raikage from taking any further damage from Amaterasu with his sand, and tries to speak to the Uchiha, whose hatred he understands very well, but cannot get through to him. Whilst the Raikage has his left arm healed that he had to sever due to Amaterasu, the Sand Shinobi and Darui attack Sasuke, but he uses his Susanoo to defend himself.
Karin keeps saying that his chakra has grown a lot colder than it used to be.
He then causes the ceiling to collapse, and has Karin taken to Danzo, leaving Jugo and Suigetsu behind without a care. He interrupts the Kage's meeting, but before he can chase after the fleeing Danzo, Lady Mizukage stops him with her lava-style jutsu. Before the Mizukage melts him away with her Kekkei Genkai, Zetsu uses his Sporulation jutsu to steal the other's chakra and replenish Sasuke's. Then the Tsuchikage uses his particle-style jutsu to evaporate him. Just as all the Kage return to the room, Madara appears before them, an unconscious Sasuke in tow, to reveal his project Tsukinome to them.
He then sends Sasuke and Karin to another dimension so she can heal him.
He first tells them that the Sage of Six Paths was known as a god, because he fought and defeated the Ten Tails, the combination of every tailed beast. He then sealed the Ten Tails inside himself, and before he passed away, divided its chakra into 9 tailed beasts, and hurled the body of the empty Ten Tails into the sky, creating the moon.
What the fuck is happening right now?
Madara plans to revive the Ten Tails and become its Jinchuriki, to activate a Genjutsu where he projects his eyes off the moon, trapping every human across the world in an illusion under his control, uniting the world in peace. He informs the Raikage that B has escaped, and when they refuse to hand over the 2 remaining Jinchuriki, Madara declares the start of the 4th Great Ninja War. He departs for the time being, and the Kage form an allied shinobi force, with the goal of protecting the 2 remaining Jinchuriki, and stopping Madara with his 7-tailed beasts on the battlefield.
The samurai decide to participate in the war too, and choose A to be the leader of the allied forces.
Elsewhere, Sakura and Co. catch up with Naruto, and she proceeds to tell him that she loves him, and that Sasuke means nothing to her anymore. She tells him to forget about the promise he made to her, but Naruto doesn't believe her, and says that his goal of saving Sasuke is personal. And at another place, B practices his rhymes with Master Kin, but is approached by Kisame, who came to capture him. His sword, Samehada, continues to eat up his opponent's chakra, transferring it to its master. Then when he creates a makeshift pool, he merges with his sword. In his element, he batters B around. Then before he can slice off his legs with Samehada, the sword takes a liking to the Jinchuriki, and won't hurt him. Then before Kisame can finish him another way, the Raikage finds them, and he and B perform their double lariat to decapitate the water ninja.
Then A gives his brother a scolding for pretending to be captured.
Naruto is in turmoil, after Sai tells him that he believes Sakura is here to kill Sasuke herself. willing to accept Naruto's hatred, as difficult as it will be. Then Gaara appears to tell his friend everything that happened at the summit, but Naruto can't accept his word of advice to act like a Hokage and deal with Sasuke accordingly. When they leave, Naruto comes to the realization that he is the only one left who wants to save Sasuke, and hyperventilates at his stressful situation, then collapses. Elsewhere, whilst all the Kage return home to make preparations for the war, Madara stops Danzo in his tracks, and deals with his subordinates, Fu and Torune, by sucking them up. Then, Madara lets out the healed Sasuke to come face to face with his prey, who possesses an arm of fabricated Sharingan, as well as a real one in his right eye. Sasuke seems to kill his opponent several times, after confirming Madara's story about Itachi to be true, but the Leaf Elder keeps coming back. He dodges one of Sasuke's Susanoo arrows using wood style, and Madara deduces that he's had Hashirama's cells implanted in him by Orochimaru, the energy it provides allowing him to house 10 Sharingan on his right arm. Danzo is using the Izanagi Jutsu, a forbidden jutsu amongst the Uchiha, which allows any damage the caster takes to be rewritten as a dream, though the eye that uses it loses its light forever. Sasuke's genius battle intellect allow him to recognize this jutsu's effects, and tricks Danzo into thinking he's got one Sharingan left to clash with him, piercing him with his Chidori. Sasuke takes some damage too, however, and uses Karin to heal. Then after Danzo is nearly taken over by Hashirama's cells, the visual prowess in his right eye recovers from having used it at the summit. He takes Karin hostage, but Sasuke shows how far he's fallen, piercing right through her to hit Danzo's vital spot. The Leaf Shinobi runs away, but Madara stops him to take Shisui's eye from him, and just then Danzo uses his trump card to take the 2 enemy shinobi down with him. He sacrifices his life for the Leaf, just as his old comrade Hiruzen did, though no matter how hard he tried his whole life, he could never catch up to his rival. Meanwhile, Sakura is en route to Sasuke's position, but puts her teammates to sleep to deal with it alone, and Kakashi is not far behind, up to date on the situation thanks to Sai's clone. Sasuke and Madara manage to survive Danzo's final attack, and Madara takes his body and retreats for the time being.
Shisui's eye was destroyed in his final attack though.
Then Sasuke heads to finish off Karin, but Sakura stops him, and tells him that she wants to join him, even willing to destroy the leaf for him, and he tells her to kill Karin to prove her loyalty. When he recognizes she can't do it, he attempts to kill her, only Kakashi preventing him from doing so. Sakura takes Karin aside to heal her, whilst Kakashi faces off with his twisted former student, bearing the full brunt of his hatred. Though the light in Sasuke's eyes begin to fade due to the overuse of his Mangekyo Sharingan, and Sakura attempts to sneak up on him to deal the finishing blow, but can't bring herself to do it. Then before Sasuke can turn the kunai around on her, Naruto steps in to save her. With all of Team 7 back together for the first time in years, Naruto tells Sasuke that what he's doing is understandable, and that he intends to save him from this cycle of vengeance. Then when he clashes his Rasengan with Sasuke's Chidori, the two get a glimpse into each other's minds. Naruto says that he too once hated the village, and could have ended up just like Sasuke with one wrong move. But seeing Sasuke's situation made him feel like he wasn't alone in his despair, though was jealous of his abilities, and so made him his rival and his goal. Nothing Naruto says changes Sasuke's mind, telling him that he will either kill him or be killed by him. Then their clash ends, and before Zetsu and Madara force Sasuke to retreat, Naruto says that he'll bear all of Sasuke's hatred when they next battle, and die with him, because he is his friend. So, the Akatsuki retreat with Sasuke, and he asks Madara to transplant Itachi's eyes in him, whilst the Leaf Shinobi head back home, with a prisoner in tow. Elsewhere, Kisame hides in Samehara whilst Bee returns to the village hidden in the clouds, having swapped places with Zetsu at some point in his fight with him, as all 5 feudal lords of the great nations approve the allied shinobi force, All the Kages prepare for war, and Naruto tells his friends to leave Sasuke to him, but they're all frustrated with his lack of explanation. Before Kakashi is formally appointed as 6th Hokage, Tsunade awakens from her coma, and the Leaf begin their preparations for war, the village still under reconstruction, whilst Naruto is summoned in front of the Great Lord Elder, who tells Garatora to store himself inside Naruto, holding the key that locks and unlocks the Nine-Tailed Seal. Naruto is unsure about this, having caused so much damage and harm to people he loves with the Nine-Tails' power, but he remembers how his father believed in him, and makes the contract with Garatora, who stores himself inside our hero. Meanwhile, Kabuto, who is taken on a form similar to Orochimaru, confronts Madara with a proposition to join forces. He is willing to hand him his plethora of reanimated shinobi to aid in his war, in exchange for Sasuke once the war is won. After seeing a certain shinobi, Madara is essentially forced to agree to his terms, and the team that has been tailing Kabuto led by Anko learn of their alliance and report it to the Leaf. The Five Kage reconvene at their first war council, where they decide to hide the 8 and 9 tails on a special island located in the Hidden Cloud Village. Tsunade then asks the Raikage for B to help Naruto learn how to control his tailed beast, and she assigns our hero his S-rank mission in the Land of Lightning, though keeps quiet about its purpose, and about the upcoming war. If you made it to this point, I don't know how to thank you. You're just freaking amazing. Type Tobito in the comments. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to spoil what that means, but type that in the comments if you made it to this point. Stay tuned, hopefully within the next month, Naruto Shippuden RECAP Part 2, because I am going to be on vacation for a bit after this, as if you expect me to upload every single week. But anyways, with that being said, if you made it this far, like, comment, subscribe. I love you all. Take it easy, and peace.